Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Good afternoon. So, we continue from the last class. We discussed disintegration of particles last time. Today, we will do something you have done before, but might not have done in center of mass frame or moving frame, the elastic collision between particles. You have done elastic collision, but you might have done in lab frame. There are some interesting feature which comes in co-moving frame, and sometimes there are experiments which are in with respect to co-moving frame. So, one needs to know the results as observed from lab frame as well as from co-moving frame. Okay. So, what is an elastic collision? If there is no change in internal energy of the colliding particles, the collisions are called elastic collisions. So, if there are no change in internal energy and they remain constant, then computation of internal energy or counting of these becomes unimportant. So, internal energy of particles in such collisions may be ignored altogether. In addition, in elastic collision or several types of collisions, momentum is conserved. Momentum is conserved even in elastic collisions. Energy may be lost. So, momentum is conserved. So, these are the things we have to keep in mind. And you have done it before, but you have not done collision in a moving frame of reference or center of mass frame of reference. So, description of collisions is simple in a frame of reference where the center of mass of two particles is at rest. So, we are still considering collision between two particles, like disintegration of a particle into two we considered last time. So, we will talk about collision of two particles. So, position vector of center of mass of the particles which are going to collide with respect to the lab frame is V, that is r dot. R is the radius vector of center of mass frame or center of mass of the colliding particles as observed from the lab frame. So, V is r dot, that is what we have. Before the elastic collision, R1 and R2, lowercase r1 and r2, they are position vectors of the particles of mass m1 and m2 as observed from the lab frame of reference. Okay. R1, R2 are observed in lab frame of reference, and V1, V2, which are velocities of these particles which are heading for a collision. V1 is r1 dot, V2 is r2 dot. So, they are velocities of particles of mass m1 and mass m2 respectively. Okay. Now, r10 and r20. R10, R20 are position vectors of the particles of mass m1 and mass m2 respectively with respect to center of mass frame of reference. So, in a frame of reference where center of mass is at rest, that is what we are calling center of mass frame, because as two particles are moving towards each other, their center of mass is also moving, but now you choose a frame of reference where center of mass is at rest, then it would be easier to compute various things or to understand this collision. So, V 1 0 is R 1 0 dot and V 2 0 is V 2 0 dot, R 2 0 dot. So, these are velocities of two particles as measured from center of mass frame of reference. Okay. Now, from the definition of center of mass frame as observed from lab frame of reference, M 1 R 1 plus M 2 R 2 must be equal to total mass of the system put at center of mass. So, R is the radius vector of center of mass frame from the origin of the lab frame. So, this is the relationship we have. So, if we take derivative of this one, so if I take derivative of first equation, then R dot will give me V 1, R 2 dot will give me V 2. So, I get this equation. Okay. And from here we can find out the velocity of center of mass as observed from the lab frame. So, that is M 1 V 1 plus M 2 V 2 upon the total mass of the system. Okay. In center of mass frame, this sum is 0, because R you will measure only from center of mass. So, this is 0. So, this gives me if I take its derivative with time. So, this relationship between the radius vectors, they will convert to the velocity. So, that will give me M 1 V 1 0 plus M 2 V 2 0 equal to 0. Okay. Now, we find out the relative position vector R, which is R 1 minus R 2 as observed from the lab frame of reference. But same thing, if it is observed from the center of mass frame, it would be R 1 0 vector minus R 2 0 vector, they are same thing. So, relative position vector remains intact whether I use lab frame quantities or center of mass frame quantities for its description. So, that is a better thing to compute. We do not have to jump over other thing unless and until we want to compute. So, similarly, the relative velocity, that is V 1 minus V 2, that is what is relative velocity. So, by taking time derivative of this, we get this relationship. So, relative velocity would be V 1 minus V 2 as far as lab frame is concerned, and in center of mass frame it would be V 1 0 minus V 2 0. So, from here we can find out expression for V 1 0 and V 2 0. And once that is known, the velocity in lab frame for the first particle would be this velocity observed in center of mass frame plus velocity of center of mass, that is what is added. Similarly, for V 2, velocity of center of mass frame for the particle plus velocity of center of mass. So, by adding that we will get this easily. Now, what happens after elastic collision? So, after elastic collision, these velocities and position vectors, those they are denoted by dashed quantities. So, I have put dashed here to distinguish them from their values before collision. Okay. So, V 1 prime and V 2 prime are velocities of particles of mass m 1 and m 2 in the lab frame, and V 1 0 prime and V 2 0 prime are velocities of particles of mass m 1 and m 2 in the center of mass frame of reference. Okay. Now, due to conservation of momentum, two particles, momenta of the two particles remain equal and opposite after collision, because momentum is conserved and there in center of mass frame initial where it is rest. So, after collision what is going to happen? They come, they collide and then they go in certain directions. The only requirement is their momenta is equal and opposite after collision. So, can see. So, let us say these two particles are heading for collision in center of mass frame, where center of mass remains in a frame of reference where center of mass is at rest. If center of mass is at rest, then total momentum is 0, it is not moving. So, they collide. After collision, they can be either heading in opposite direction or they can go in this direction. This magnitude of all these vectors remains the same, or they can go in this direction and that direction. They have to go in opposite direction. Okay. So, when they are heading for collision, you know V 1 and V 2 those are there, but after collision you can only say based on conservation of momentum they will be moving with equal and opposite momentum. In which direction they will move, it cannot be said from the law of conservation of momentum, neither from conservation of energy. So, after collision it will depend at the time of collision what exactly happens. So, is there some change, some other details that depends on the properties of two particles which are colliding. So, depending on that their direction could be in all possible directions. So, if this collision is observed several times and every time they go in a particular direction. So, this remains always fixed, but after collision there would be results in all possible directions and so on. So, if there are large number of collisions or same collision is observed several times, various kinds of results may come. So, that is why this problem becomes interesting, but what direction they will go, that cannot be determined by conservation of momentum or conservation of energy. Only thing that can be said, in the center of mass frame of reference, the collision simply rotates the incoming velocity which remain opposite in direction and unchanged in magnitude. So, particle come in certain directions and after collision they go in any possible directions, but conservation of momentum, energy, those are always respected, but still it can go in any possible directions. So, that is the crux here. So, what we can say, the magnitude will remain the same since it is elastic collision, but direction we cannot fix. So, let us take n 0 hat, it is a unit vector along the direction of motion of a particle after the collision. So, n 0 is a unit vector along the direction of one of the particles. So, let us say it is the velocity of the particle of mass m 1 after the collision. So, if that is the case, then what is the velocity after the collision in center of mass frame? In center of mass frame, this is the direction that we cannot say anything. Otherwise, rest of the things are quite similar. So, earlier we have computed same thing before collision. So, we have this expression before collision. So, you see, so magnitude remains precisely the same. See, m 2 upon m 1 plus m 2 times this relative velocity, and here minus times m 1 upon m 1 plus m 2 relative velocity. So, this magnitude remain the same, but direction is something that cannot be determined. In different elastic collisions, the direction after the collision of two particles may be in any directions. So, there is a unit vector, that is what has been introduced there, and rest of the things are you look. So, these are precisely the same, the velocities before collision. So, after collision it is elastic collision. So, total momentum etcetera conserved, and there is an unit vector. So, that is coming in the picture. So, only this direction of n 0 we cannot say anything. So, after collision magnitude is the same, and after collision they would be in opposite direction, because total momentum is 0. We are considering in a frame of reference where center of mass is at rest. So, total momentum is 0. So, before collision it was 0, after collision it was 0. Okay. Before collision it was moving in the opposite direction, but it was heading towards each other. After collision it is moving away from each other. So, what collision can do? So, collision can only do the rotate after the collision, where the vector would be, that we do not know. So, we have put a unit vector that could be anywhere in any direction. Once that is known in lab frame, we can find out the velocities after collision. Again, in the velocities observed in frame of center of mass frame, we will add the velocity of center of mass frame observed from the lab, we will get the velocity as observed from the lab frame of reference. So, that is what. So, direction of n 0 depends on the interaction of colliding particles and their relative positions. It cannot be determined by the laws of conservation of energy and momentum. Now, we draw a geometrical picture to understand that. Okay. So, now I am writing the momenta instead of velocities. So, we keep both the expression. So, here we have expression for V 1 and corresponding equation for P 1 momentum is here. So, here is the velocity after collision. So, I multiply with the mass of the first particle. So, it becomes momentum after collision, and so that is what is written everywhere, and also we put the value of V. So, the first part is the value of V m into V. So, m 1 into V is this thing, and the other part is same mu times V, that remains, magnitude remains precisely the same. This is the unit vector that is changing. Similarly, for P 2 prime, the momentum of the second particle. So, this is what is m 2 times V, and this is what is m 1 times V, and this is the other part. Mu is the reduced mass of the system. So, now let us plot that. So, here I am plotting a circle with a radius that is mu v n 0. So, this is what is the radius. So, this vector O C, so point C could be anywhere on the circle, and depending on that, value of P 1 prime and P 2 prime etcetera, they will also depend on what is the initial velocity etcetera. So, here let us say theta 1 is the angle between what is A O. So, they are defined here. So, A O is the momentum of center of mass. M 1 times velocity of center of mass. So, this is m 1 times v, that is A O. So, that is what it is. So, if I multiply with m, so this is P 1's, yes. So, that is what it is, and this would be m 2 times V, and P 1 prime is the sum of two terms here, P 2 prime is again the sum of two terms here. So, P 1 prime and P 2 prime are computed, and P 1 prime plus P 2 prime will give A B. So, if I add A O plus O B, so this will give me P 1 prime plus P 2 prime. That is what is shown in the next. Okay, there is a special case here. So, okay. So, A B is A O plus O B, and that is P 1 plus P 2. If P 2 is 0, then this is going to be only P 1, but otherwise it is the case. So, if I take the sum A B, this is A O plus O B, A O plus O B, that is P 1 plus P 1 prime plus P 2 prime. So, total momentum of the two particles after collision, that is what is given by this. So, they can be shown geometrically here. This OC, the radius is always with mu v n 0 and AC is P 1, CB is P 2 prime. Okay. Now, we do a special case. What is a special case? One of the particle, let us say second particle of mass m 2 is at rest initially before the collision. After the collision both the particles may be moving, but before collision one particle of mass m 1 comes with some velocity v 1 and hits the second particle and it moves. So, we can see either in lap frame or in center of mass frame, etc. So, this is special case, the mass m 2 is at rest before collision. So, that means P 2 is 0, that is what is given. We have already seen AO, we have computed, it has two parts. So, AO has m 1 P 1 plus P 2 upon m 1 plus m 2. If P 2 is 0, then this goes away. So, that is what is done here. So, P 2 is set equal to 0. So, second term has gone away. Now, P 1 can be written as m 1 times V 1 and here if I multiply by m 2 divide by m 2. So, m 1 by m 2 comes here and rest of the things is reduced mass times V 1. The magnitude of V 1 and V is same. What is this relative velocity? Relative velocity is V 1 minus V 2. So, V is mod of V. So, mod of V 1 minus V 2, as V 2 is 0, V and V 1 they are same, magnitude as well as direction, everything they are same. So, V 1 can be replaced by V. So, now you see in the construction we had made, AO will become, if one of the mass was at rest, second one, then it will become m 1 by m 2 times mu v. Similarly, the second part OB, OB was again m 2 times P 1 plus P 2. Now, here again P 2 is 0. So, one part goes away from here and this becomes simply mu V 1, which is nothing but mu v. And so, what about point B? This is same as the radius. This radius is mu v, only its direction could be anything. So, it can be any point on this circle, but its magnitude is same. So, if the mass of second mass of m 2, if it is at rest, then OB and OC are same. So, point B will lie on the circle. So, this point B will lie on the circle, that is the difference in this special case, otherwise both may be inside. So, now we look at this diagram once again, the geometrical figure. So, the radius is mu v and mu v n 0 is the direction of the particle, one of the particles after collision. Okay. The first particle after collision, and second was initially at rest. So, that OB has also become of same magnitude. So, this is also falling on the circle. Now, first one could be either inside the circle or outside the circle. So, AO depends on this ratio. See, AO depends on ratio M1 by M2. So, if M1 is bigger than M2, then it is outside the circle. If M1 is smaller than M2, then it is inside the circle, and for identical mass it would be on the circle. So, there are all possible things. So, only point A can be inside the circle or outside the circle, as shown in the second figure. So, in first case M1 is smaller than M2, and in second case M1 is bigger than M2. If M1 is bigger than M2, then this point A is outside. Now, the situation again here is similar as we had seen in collision problem. No, in the problem of disintegration of particle into 2. So, there also similar situation was there. Now, we can find out the angle theta 1. Theta 1 is the angle, the direction of P 1 prime, that means the first the momentum of the first particle after collision is making with the direction of the velocity of center of mass frame as observed from lab frame. So, tan of theta I can draw perpendicular from here. So, tan of theta 1 is this perpendicular upon base. So, base has two part AO plus O2 some x here. So, that is what is written. So, perpendicular is mu v is the this hypotenuse and chi is the angle it is making. So, sin chi is the perpendicular, mu v sin chi, that is there in the numerator, and denominator has two part, AO is m1 upon m2 times mu v and another is mu v cos of chi. So, if mu v is everywhere, so that goes away. So, tan of theta simply theta 1 depends on angle of angle chi. So, which the first particle makes after collision from the direction of the motion of center of mass as observed from lab frame, and the ratio and the masses m 1 and m 2. So, that is the formula. We can also see here these two are same. So, if this angle is theta 2, the upper angle would be also theta 2. Actually, it is equilateral triangle. So, all no, not necessarily, it is not necessarily, because this base could be anything. So, these, so I have put equality at wrong place. So, this side and this side they are equal. So, this angle is theta 2 and the upper this part is also theta 2. So, 2 times theta 2 plus chi is pi, 3 angles of this triangle gives me pi. So, that is what is written here, 2 theta 2 plus chi is pi. So, theta 2 would be half pi minus chi. Okay. So, once this is known, I can find out the velocities of two particles after collision by adding v 1 0 prime, the velocities with respect to the center of mass frame, the velocity of center of mass frame with respect to the lab frame. So, capital B, and that is what is done. So, this part is here and this part is here. So, I have added them. So, similarly here this part is here. So, magnitude of V 1 and V 2, V 1 prime and V 2 prime now can be computed. So, V 1 prime is there, V 2 prime is there. So, I can take their dot product. So, there would be an expression for V 1 prime square, similarly here V 2 prime square, and do the whole square simplification, and that is going to give me the expression for V 1 prime and V 2 prime. So, V 2 prime turns out to be 2 m 1 v, v is the relative velocity, and since second particle was at rest initially. So, relative velocity is same as V 1. So, magnitude is same, and then sin chi by 2 upon m 1 plus m 2, and V 1 prime is m 1 square plus m 2 square plus 2 m 1 m 2 cos of chi upon m 1 plus m 2. For head on collision, what happens? If it is head on collision, then this chi becomes pi. The particle that was coming, let us say, from a particular direction, after head on collision, if it goes back, so from this direction it makes an angle pi. So, in head on collision, this angle is pi. So, if we take chi equal to pi, that is the angle of the first particle that is making from the direction of the velocity of center of mass frame. So, if I take chi equal to pi, they simplify. V 1 prime is equal to m 1 minus m 2 upon m 1 plus m 2 times V is the V 1. V is same as V 1 because V 2 was 0, and V 2 prime is 2 m 1 upon m 1 plus m 2 V. So, these are the expression for the velocities after collisions as observed from lab frame. If one of the particle was at rest before the collision, and we have assumed the particle with mass m 2 was at rest before the collision. Okay. Now, we come to some issues connecting scattering. So, picture show collisions only, but in scattering there would be several collisions. So, we come to that. So, let us look at some example. A point projectile, a target is something which is initially at rest. If it is a fixed target, it will remain at rest. Like some heavy body, you are throwing a small stone piece or glass balls on some very heavy things. So, heavy material will remain where it was earlier, but the small particle would be deflected from its direction of motion. So, direction of motion of a particle, whenever there is some collision, its path is deviated. So, path changes. So, the direction of motion will change. So, from there we guess there is a collision. If we see some collision, we understand this, but at small scales like proton beam going through some molecules or some vapors, etc. So, we cannot see anything. we may have other techniques to trace their path etc. So, in those cases we will have some deflection that will tell me there was some collision or scattering. Okay. So, let us consider a case where target, which is a fixed target, is a point target, that is shown here. That is a point target, and a projectile which is moving is also a point particle. So, both projectile and target both are point particles. So, this target is fixed and point particle is moving. It need not collide it. Suppose this fixed target is some electrical charge. So, it has some charge, let us say plus q, which is fixed, and the moving particle, that is also electric charge. So, it is a projectile that is moving. So, moving bodies are called projectile, and the fixed one which affects its motion, they are called target materials. So, this is let us say plus lowercase q. So, since charges are of similar type, so there is deflection. When it is far away from this charge, it does not feel the force significantly. So, this particle keeps moving almost in a straight line, and this would have been its path if it was not deviated. But when it comes closer to some other target material, which is here a positive charge, so its path is deflected. After deflection, when it goes far away from this target or scatterer, then again it's the effect of this electric force becomes insignificant at long distance. So, after long time it would be moving again in a straight line, almost in a straight line. So, that straight line, the asymptotic line, which that makes an angle chi with its initial direction. So, before its deviation there was a direction, and long time after so called collision there is a direction. So, this angle, that is what is called angle of scattering. Okay. Scattering word is used when you do not have one target and one projectile. There may be either large number of projectiles and one target, let us say, or large number of targets, one projectile, or both large number of projectiles and large number of targets. For example, in famous Rutherford scattering experiment, Rutherford has used a thin foil of gold foil. So, gold foil has many gold atom inside. So, there are multiple target inside, those are gold atoms, and this was bombarded by helium nucleus. So, they were also many. So, there were many projectiles and they were given some energy and they hit the foil. So, there were many targets and many projectiles. So, you have to handle such things. So, these are typical scattering problems, right. To simplify or explain something, we show one particle, but actually there are large number of particles in scattering, otherwise we call kind of collision, it is a collision. So, that is the difference between collision etc. So, in scattering there are a lot of average quantity etc., those are to be computed, and some new concept called scattering cross section etc. will come to that. So, here there is a case of point projectile and point target. There could be point projectile and finite size target. For example, there is a fixed sphere and very tiny mass, a small ball whose radius is negligible compared to the radius of this bigger sphere or so. So, when it is thrown on this sphere, so if it come closer by, then there would be a deviation. So, when there would be deviation? If the shortest distance between its direction from the from a line which is parallel to its direction of motion and passing through the axis of the target. So, these are the two parallel lines. So, if the shortest distance, the distance between these two parallel lines is less than the radius of this sphere, then this point particle will collide and it would be deviated. So, if it is more than that, it will pass away without any kind of scattering. So, here there are no charges. So, deviation comes because of direct contact between these two particles. So, scattering may be because two particles collide. It could be in the other case they never come in contact, but its path is changed because there is electric force that is acting on that. So, that is also collision. Okay. So, in this case there is a zone, if inside that this particle goes, then only it is deviated. So, is here also, if this particle which is incident or coming towards this heavy nucleus, it would be deviated only if its distance is significant. If it is far away from here, the deflection may not be visible or significant, it will almost go straight line. So, the distance from the target is important. So, this parameter is called impact parameter. This determines this determines a measure of the impact this projectile may have when it comes in the vicinity of the target. Target may be one fixed particle or object or an assembly of particles or targets, etc. Okay. So, there is a concept of impact parameter. Here if B is smaller, deviation is going to be more. So, angle of scattering would be more if this charge particle is coming closer to another charge particle. If it is farther away, the angle of scattering would be less. So, B is a parameter that does affect. In this case, if B is less than r or equal to r, then its path would be deviated. If it is thrown and passes closer to this ball, but little away, then it will pass through undeviated. Now, both projectile and targets may have finite size. So, there is a bigger sphere and there is a smaller sphere heading towards it. Now, you see the impact parameter will depend not only on the size of target, but also on the size of projectile. Let us say target has a radius r 2 and projectile has a radius r 1. So, if the projectile is in the vicinity such that this B parameter, impact parameter is equal to or less than r 1 plus r 2, then there is going to be collision. Only if this distance, the distance between the direction of motion of the projectile and a parallel line to its direction of motion, but passing through the center of the target. So, these two parallel lines, that distance is called impact parameter. If it is less than r 1 plus r 2, there is going to be a deflection. So, you see the impact or interaction between two particles depends not only the target, but nature of projectile also, size of projectile also. Okay. Another experiment like in Rutherford experiment, etc. So, a lot of helium nucleus were projected or thrown on a thin gold foil, etc. So, there they saw some traces of scattering. Some of the thrown particles came back in the opposite direction. They were very few, 1 in million or so, but they came in the opposite direction. That made Rutherford conclude there are some heavy things inside the gold foil. So, there are some heavy nucleus and there are certain parts which are not as heavy as that. So, these heavy nuclei pass through from other places only when it is very close to or collide. He thought that time may be very close to that, then they may come back also in the opposite direction. So, that helped him propose a model of an atom. Okay. So, here these figures are called cloud chamber experiment. In cloud chamber experiment, there is super saturated vapor inside and some charged particle is passing through that. So, these charged particles knock out some of the electrons from the saturated super saturated vapor molecules, and when electron is removed from some of these molecules, they becomes ionized, and immediately after that they try to condense. So, in the process when they try to condense, this part is recorded. So, in the process there is a trace wherever this has happened. So, there is a trace that comes in a photographic plate. So, in photographic plate you see many straight lines. So, straight line means the particle that was passing through this chamber, they traces are there, that means they knocked some electrons from the saturated vapor, but they did not collide with some heavy molecule or something. So, they went more or less a straight line, but a few of them are scattered. So, like one here it is shown, this is scattered. So, and the other direction the electron that was knocked off. So, thus recoiling electron. So, from here one can guess what would be the angle of scattering. So, from photographic plate one can find out very easily angle of scattering, but all the particles are subatomic, it is impossible to know the impact parameter. It is so small, from experiment it is impossible to get impact parameter. So, there are various kinds of processes where impact parameter may be measured, may not be measured at some subatomic sizes, but there are collisions or scattering. So, B is here calculated by theory and then predictions are matched with the experiments, and that is how the impact parameter is estimated and some measurable things are predicted. So, there are problems where we cannot do anything, we cannot measure B. So, B has to be computed. So, there are processes of different kind where there are collisions or scattering. When large number of particles are bombarded, for example, during festival time, there are some kind of fair in many places, and if you go there, there is a, you find very often a stall where a person is keeping a lot of filled balloons on a board, and he keeps an air gun and allows people to fire pellets on those filled balloons. So, there are wall boards and there are a lot of balloons. So, if you heat some of them, you may be allowed to have more shooting etcetera, but those balloons may be assumed as targets and the board is some assembly where assembly of targets are fixed. So, area occupied by balloons are not exactly the area of the board. Area of the board is bigger than the area occupied by all the balloons, and if you hit only where a balloon is, then only it will get hit. If shooting is uniformly done all over the board, then you may compute probability of a balloon may be hit. So, these kind of things happen in scattering also, a lot of similar concepts. So, a lot of particles are coming to an assembly of targets and some go unaffected, some are deviated because of these collisions. Okay. So, then we have to define something called scattering cross section. So, normal angle you find ratio of two lengths, this curved length and the radius s by r, that is what gives me the angle, and total angle over a circle, that would be 2 pi. Similarly, we compute solid angle. Solid angle is you take a sphere from center, you take a cone. So, wherever there is a cross section of the cone and the sphere, so that area is A. Then the solid angle made by this cone is the ratio of two areas A upon r. R is the radius of this sphere. So, A upon r square. So, it is dimensionless like here, but angle we say radian. So, here also it is told steradian. Steradian. Okay. So, maximum angle if the particles are coming through the surface of a sphere from all directions. So, pi r is 4 pi r square is the area upon r square. So, it is 4 pi. So, like ordinary angle it is 4 pi. Now, here is some board and there are targets. Targets have area sigma, that is the cross section of target. A is the area of the board. Okay. And Nt is the number of targets per unit area. So, that is called the target density. Then area occupied by all targets here, that would be target density times area, the number of targets and their area. So, Nt A sigma. So, that is what the area of the target, and total area is capital A. So, if I take the ratio of these two, that would be a probability of a hit, that is the area occupied by target total area. So, that is Nt times sigma. So, that is the probability of a hit. Now, suppose I sent ni number of pellets on the balloons on a board and n number of balloons are hit. So, n hit is number of pellet sends and this is the probability target density times target area. So, that is what is the formula, that is how you compute. Similarly, for scattering you can compute number of scattered particles is initial particle, that is incident, number of particles incident, this is the target density and this is the target area which is called target cross section. I can compute rate also by taking time derivative of that, then we can talk about R. We can compute sigma if all other things are known, then this is called the scattering cross section of the problem. If NC, NI, NT everything is known, I can compute the size of the target. So, scattering cross sections etc. So, we will continue on that in next class. Thank you very much.